The first thing I saw after surgery was my phone lighting up on the bedside table. Not with a payment notification, not with an apology, just one message from my boss. "Don't ask me about the money. We'll talk when you're back on your feet." I read it 3 times before the pain in my ankle became the second worst thing I was feeling. 8 years of loyalty, reduced to a single text message. What he didn't know was that I'd spent those same 8 years quietly handling the paperwork that kept his company alive. Every invoice, every payroll report, every expense claim, every shortcut he thought nobody would ever notice. He believed I was trapped in that hospital bed. He had no idea he was the one walking into a trap. Before I tell you how a man I once considered family lost everything he spent 15 years building, let me ask you something. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you ignored every warning sign? If you have, you'll understand exactly why this story still stays with me. And when it's over, tell me honestly, would you have stopped where I did? When I was 24, I thought I'd found my future. Instead, the economy collapsed. The career I'd trained for disappeared almost overnight, and the companies that had promised stable jobs suddenly stopped answering emails. For years, I drifted between temporary work, warehouse shifts, deliveries, construction, anything that paid enough to cover rent. Every time I managed to save a little money, another contract ended. Eventually, I admitted something I'd been avoiding. I needed a fresh start. That's how I found welding. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. After months of training, I joined a small industrial welding company owned by a man named Victor. He wasn't the kind of boss people complain about, at least not then. He worked beside us, bought dinner after difficult projects, and never asked anyone to do a job he wouldn't do himself. Once, when a client delayed payment for weeks, Victor borrowed money just so the crew would receive their wages on time. That earned my respect. Over the next 8 years, he earned something even more valuable: my trust. We traveled across the country repairing factories, power plants, and steel structures. Long days became normal. So did missed birthdays, holidays, and weekends. But none of us complained. We were proud of what we built. Eventually, Victor promoted me to site foreman. I didn't just supervise crews. I approved material purchases, tracked travel expenses, prepared payroll records, verified compliance paperwork. If a project succeeded, my signature was somewhere in the file. Victor used to joke, "If your name's on it, I don't even have to check." I wore that trust like a badge of honor. Looking back, I should have realized something. The people with the keys to every locked door also know where all the skeletons are buried. I just never imagined I'd need that knowledge against the man who handed me those keys. The first crack appeared so quietly that nobody else noticed. Travel reimbursements arrived a week late. Victor blamed the accountant. The next month, overtime pay was missing. He blamed the bank. Then, hotel expenses vanished from our payroll summaries altogether. Every explanation sounded reasonable. Every promise sounded sincere. After all, this was Victor, the man I'd trusted for nearly a decade. So I believed him. I had no idea those little delays were the beginning of the biggest betrayal of my life. The company changed faster than any of us expected. The experienced welders who had helped build Victor's reputation slowly moved on. Some retired. Others took local jobs so they could spend more time with their families. Their replacements were different. One disappeared halfway through a project after getting paid. Another showed up late almost every morning, smelling like alcohol. One was caught stealing expensive tools from another contractor. Instead of running a skilled crew, I felt like I was putting out fires every single day. Victor brushed it off. "We'll find better people. We're just going through a rough patch. Hang in there." So I did. I covered shifts when people quit without notice. I calmed furious clients when deadlines slipped. I fixed mistakes before customers even realized there had been a problem. Somehow, we still finished every project. Clients kept complimenting our work. They had no idea how close everything came to falling apart behind the scenes. Then came the phone call that changed everything. It was nearly 3 in the morning. My phone vibrated so hard on the hotel nightstand that it woke everyone in the room. The project manager from our biggest client didn't bother saying hello. "One of your workers has been arrested." I sat upright. "What happened?" They started a fight outside a bar. The police found your company ID in his pocket. They need the foreman. An hour later, I was standing in a police station while one of my own crew members slurred his words so badly he couldn't remember his home address. The officer looked at me with obvious disappointment. "Is this how your company normally operates?" Those words hit harder than I expected, not because they were aimed at me, but because I suddenly realized our reputation was collapsing. The drive back to the hotel was silent. The worker passed out in the passenger seat before we reached the parking lot. I stared through the windshield for several minutes after turning off the engine. For the first time in years, I dreaded calling Victor. When I finally told him everything, he sighed. "I'll deal with it." That was it. No apology, no concern for the client, no concern for me. Just 3 empty words. Over the next few months, things became even stranger. Fuel reimbursements stopped completely. Hotel costs were suddenly my responsibility. Payroll arrived later and later. When I questioned the missing money, Victor always had another explanation. The accountant made a mistake. The client hasn't paid yet. The bank flagged the transfer. At first, I believed him. Then I started checking the paperwork myself. The client had already paid. The bank had processed the transfers. The numbers simply didn't match. Thousands of dollars had vanished. One evening, after everyone else had gone home, I closed the office door behind me. "Victor," I said quietly, "we need to settle this." He leaned back in his chair and forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I know. You owe me nearly a year's worth of travel expenses. I haven't forgotten. My savings are disappearing. I just need more time." He rubbed his forehead dramatically before continuing. "My wife controls the business accounts now. She's refusing every large payment until cash flow improves." It sounded believable, maybe too believable. Then he looked me straight in the eyes. "Stay with me a little longer. I'll make everything right." 8 years of friendship weighed heavily on my mind. Against my better judgment, I agreed. But I gave him one condition. "I need half of what you owe me by the end of September. I've already hired contractors to renovate my house. I can't delay it." Victor nodded immediately. "You'll have it." He answered so quickly that I almost smiled. Almost. Because as I stood to leave, he gave me the strangest grin I'd ever seen. It lasted only a second. A thin, rehearsed smile. The kind people wear when they've already decided to lie. Every instinct told me something was wrong. As I walked toward my truck, one thought kept repeating in my head. If he breaks this promise, everything changes. September arrived. Victor suddenly became difficult to reach. Calls went unanswered. Messages were left unread. Then, 3 days before he was supposed to repay me, he sent a short text. "I'm leaving tomorrow to meet a new client. We'll sort everything out when I get back." I stared at the screen. Every excuse he'd given me over the past year suddenly fit together like pieces of a puzzle. He wasn't postponing the payment. He was avoiding it. I decided that if the money wasn't in my account by the agreed date, I'd hand in my resignation the moment he returned. Life, however, had another surprise waiting for me. The next afternoon, while inspecting steel supports at a construction site, I slipped on an oil-covered platform. I remember the sickening crack before I felt the pain. Then everything went black. When I woke up, my right ankle was wrapped in bandages, held together with metal plates and screws. The surgeon didn't sugarcoat it. "You'll recover," he said, "but you won't be working for several months." As if that wasn't enough, payday came, and nothing arrived. No wages, no reimbursement, no repayment. Nothing. While I lay in that hospital bed, my mother used the last of my savings to pay the contractors renovating my house so I wouldn't lose my deposit. She kept telling me not to worry. "You'll receive sick pay soon." I wanted to believe her. Instead, collection notices started appearing in my mailbox. My savings disappeared. I was forced to cash out a long-term investment I'd spent years building just to keep paying my bills. Lying awake one night, staring at the hospital ceiling, I stopped asking myself why Victor had betrayed me. Instead, I asked a different question. How much did I actually know about his business? The answer was everything. As site foreman, I'd handled years of documentation, payroll records, expense reports, safety inspections, invoices, travel claims, employment contracts. I knew where every file was stored. More importantly, I knew which numbers had been changed. The moment I could walk with crutches, I started organizing every document I'd saved over the years. I wasn't looking for revenge anymore. I was looking for the truth. What I found shocked even me. Unpaid overtime, false expense reports, employees listed for hours they never worked, government reimbursements claimed but never passed on to workers, safety reports signed without required inspections. It wasn't one mistake, it was a pattern. I copied every record, arranged them in chronological order, and delivered them to the labor inspectorate, tax authorities, and workplace safety office. The investigator spent nearly an hour turning page after page. Finally, she looked up. "I've investigated companies for 15 years, she said quietly. "I've rarely seen this many violations in one file." Then the waiting began. It took months. But when the investigation finally ended, it hit Victor like an avalanche. His company accounts were frozen. His business licenses were suspended. Government contracts were canceled. Auditors demanded years of financial records. Former employees came forward with stories of their own. Clients walked away. Banks withdrew their support. Within weeks, the company he'd spent 15 years building filed for bankruptcy. The expensive house he'd always bragged about was sold to pay debts and penalties. The trucks were auctioned, the workshop closed, the business sign disappeared. Then my phone rang. "Victor," I answered. His voice wasn't confident anymore. It was desperate. "How could you do this to me?" he shouted. "I trusted you." For a moment, I almost laughed. "You trusted me?" I asked calmly. "You left me in a hospital without a paycheck. You lied about money that I'd already earned. You expected loyalty after giving me betrayal." The line went silent. I took one slow breath before speaking again. "You didn't lose your company because of me. You lost it because you believed no one would ever uncover what you'd been doing." I wished him well. Then I hung up. That was the last conversation we ever had. The bankruptcy process eventually recovered only a fraction of what he owed me. Financially, I never got back everything I'd lost, but something far more valuable returned: my peace. I found a new employer who valued honesty as much as skill. My ankle healed. The scars remained, but they became reminders, not of pain, but of resilience. Looking back now, I don't celebrate Victor's downfall. I simply accept it. Every decision has consequences. For years, I chose loyalty. He chose deception. When those choices finally collided, the outcome wasn't revenge, it was accountability. And sometimes, that's the most satisfying justice of all. Before you go, I want to hear your opinion. If someone you trusted for years betrayed you, stole what you'd earned, and left you to struggle when you needed them most, would you have reported everything like I did? Or would you have walked away and started over? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy stories where patience and truth win in the end, consider subscribing. There are plenty more unforgettable stories still to come.